So we'll get into the trade, and we got it up on the Twitter poll here. Thoughts on the Sabres trading former first-round selection Matt Savoie to the Edmonton Oilers for forward Ryan McLeod and prospect Ty Tullio. According to the X/Twitter crowd, boo, Savoie was worth more, won at 43%. Yay, McLeod fills a role, was second at 31.6%. Expecting another trade at 15.2% and indifferent at 10.1%. The YouTube crowd was pretty much the same thing. 58% for hated Savoie is worth more. Second for love it, McLeod fills a need at 24%. And then indifferent and expecting a trade 8 and 9% respectively. Austin, where do you sit with the poll here? Because it's been pretty much split between the Sabres fans on Twitter. I don't know if you want to eviscerate any of them right now on the show, but no. It's they have a right to be upset that you give away Savoie. You took 9th overall just 2 drafts ago, but it does fill a need in Ryan McLeod. We saw how effective he was with the Edmonton Oilers. Ty Tullio, former Oshawa Generals captain. Still a prospect at this point, 22 years old, most likely going to be a Rochester American, played with Bakersfield for the most part last year, Edmonton's AHL affiliate. So where do you stand with this trade? And obviously Ryan McLeod is not going to be the sexiest addition, but he fills a need that the Sabres desperately had going into this offseason.
Yeah, so the only thing I'm going to say is they traded Matt Savoie by himself. Matt Savoie by himself was never going to get you a top 6 winger. So if your sincerest gripe is Matt Savoie by himself was worth more, I'll disagree heavily on that. I do think you could have packaged Savoie with some other stuff to get that top 6 guy. So 100%, I still believe this to this day. I love the acquisition of McLeod. Again, when you just look at the player, he fills the third line center hole that they desperately needed, albeit a very different player than Casey Middlestat. He is a responsible two-way player who has some untapped offensive upside, very good speed, very, 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 very different than the way that their third line center was used last year. Obviously, like I said, Casey Middlestat, that offensive skilled guy. McLeod is extremely reliable. He played really well when he did not play with guys named, Draisaitl, Nugent Hopkins, McDavid. I know there was a lot of people saying, well, he was propped up by that. He wasn't. He actually he had really good underlying numbers with not those guys. So the McLeod trade is a bet on those analytics transferring over to Buffalo's new system. I am all for that. I think it, again, shows that they are buying into speed. They're going to attack you with speed. They're going to attack you, whether that is off the rush or capable of dumping the puck in and being able to go get it first. We know Buffalo desperately struggled with that, except for guys like Zach Benson and Jordan Greenway. They didn't really have a guy that could just go in and retrieve pucks. Well, now their bottom 6 is full of speed guys who can go in there and retrieve pucks. So the acquisition, I am very okay with. I love McLeod. I think he's going to do very well here in that role. The acquisition cost, yes, when the trade first broke, I was very like, are you serious? They gave up Matt Savoie for McLeod. The more I thought about it, the more I saw people smarter than me in the scouting community who I respect a lot say, on the surface, this trade may look really weird and one-sided, but when you break it down, it's not. Savoie is far from a sure thing. Yes, people are citing the fact that he put up over 2 points a game in the WHL, but that was in his draft plus 2 years. So he was drafted 2 years ago. He should be putting up a ton of points playing in junior hockey. So no, I am not mad because I think Savoie by himself was worth more. I was disappointed because I think Savoie could have been used with other assets to go get something else. That being said, I like the McLeod trade a lot. The acquisition, a lot. I think he's going to do really well here. I was really pissed off. It took me about 48 hours to calm down, though. I don't know about you. Like I said, Twitter was a disaster the day that the trade happened. It's since calmed down a lot, so hopefully, you didn't go crazy like I did, seeing some stuff.
It definitely was quite the thing to see Sabres fans blowing up over a guy that hasn't even really played for the Buffalo Sabres yet. And again, as you mentioned, wasn't a surefire thing. And it's quite interesting that Matt Savoie was basically moved on from because a former teammate of his and Zach Benson with Wenatchee/Winnipeg in the WHL played so well as an 18-year-old rookie that made Matt Savoie expendable at the end of the day. But I think it just goes to show you that the Sabres really believe in their top prospects, and not everybody was going to get a shot here. You still have to think about guys like Peyton Krebs who are going to try to earn a bigger opportunity here as well when he gets a new contract, and the Isaac Rosayans, the Yuri Kulich, obviously Hellenis and Zach Benson are all in that conversation as well. So the numbers game just didn't add up for the Sabres, and somebody had to be moved. Unfortunately, it was Savoie. You saw what he was able to do, win a WHL championship with Moose Jaw when he was moved there in the Western Hockey League season. But again, I'm with you. I'm okay with the trade because of what Ryan McLeod does bring and how effective he was for the Oilers last year. But yes, we would have liked to see them maybe package that 11th/14th overall pick with a Matt Savoy, with something else to go and get that top six forward after you buy out Jeff Skinner. So I know Sabres fans are pretty split on this, and there's going to be the crowd that says, oh, watch what Savoy and Jeff Skinner do together in Edmonton in a few years. Well, it is what it is. The Sabres made their bed with those moves, and if Ryan McLeod is able to be as effective as he was with the Oilers last year in that third line role, and as you mentioned, his underlying statistics and being a great face-off guy, being very fast, and adding to that whole thing, I think it's going to be very interesting to see where this trade is in a couple of years. We still don't even know if Savoy is going to be able to pan out. So on the surface, yes, the Sabres overpaid, but I think when you really look at it, it was a very smart move by Kevyn Adams, and I'm not going to go and eviscerate him like Sabres X/Twitter was trying to do all week.
Yeah, no, like it's not, the most popular thing, and it wasn't even Sabres fans. It was just other independent people saying it's the Martin Erat Philip Forsberg trade all over again. And yeah, if Matt Savoy turns into Philip Forsberg, that's going to hurt the Sabres a lot. But one, we don't know if he's going to do that. Two, McLeod is a 24-year-old center, not a 33-year-old winger who's on the downswing of his career. So yes, on the surface, it's fun to make fun of Buffalo and say this is why bad teams stay bad and all that stuff. I get it. But they dealt from a position of strength, maybe gave up a little bit more than people would have liked them to give up, myself included. But they filled their second biggest need and got an effective NHL third line center who makes their team better. You wanted a trade. I wanted a trade. They made a trade. I'm not going to gripe that much. Slight overpay, sure, but you got a valuable asset who fits what you're trying to do here. When Savoy, when you look at, he was basically pushed out. He was pushed out. You have Helenius here now. Benson moved past him. Kulich is more close to being NHL ready. Maybe you could argue that Rosén might be close to being NHL ready because of his AHL experience. So it's just, he got pushed out, and unfortunately, he was a fan favorite for the Sabres. He was a fan favorite of mine. You have to move something to get something. The Sabres were able to do that, and I do think McLeod is going to pleasantly surprise people this year, especially Sabres fans.
Lastly, any thoughts on Tullio? We saw him with the Oshawa Generals in the OHL. He's been pretty much an AHL player, 22 years old.
Yeah.
Still possibly room for growth there, but any quick thoughts on him?
Yeah, he'll be an AHL guy. I mean, again, we've talked about it. Rochester has a lot of top prospects down there. They have a lot of AHL vets, so I'm interested to see how they use Tullio, because maybe he was just a throw-in and he's just going to be, an extra forward in the AHL, or maybe the Sabres actually do have a plan for him long-term in the AHL. So interesting to see. I did love Tullio when he played for the Oshawa Generals, so it was cool to see that name come to Buffalo. But in terms of long-term NHL impacts, I don't really see any, at least at this point in time.